2.
Hey, man. Happy back from Thanksgiving weekend. I hope that you guys had a great weekend. No drama, no family issues, no travel issues. We got a lot to chop up, man. It was a long weekend. Last time we spoke to you guys was Wednesday, obviously Thanksgiving, and then the Friday, Saturday full of football. Sunday yesterday, a debacle for the Falcons, which we'll talk about. But we got to give a couple of shout outs. One, Georgia beating Georgia Tech. Mike, it wasn't the game we thought it would be, but Georgia advances to the SEC championship game. They will play Alabama this weekend, which will have a lot on throughout the course of the week. The Hawks are hot, guys, which is good for us because they're playing well without Trae Young. And more importantly, I think we have as I've said, a blossoming superstar in Jalen Johnson. He balled out. They've won a couple of games. So there's a lot at stake, or should I say that we're going to get to as far as in store. But, Mike, we got to talk about the Falcons, man. And first and foremost, I thought I couldn't be any more disappointed, to be honest with you. I just thought I couldn't be. I was like, all right, I've seen this. I've been there. And I kept saying to you, maybe after the Jets game might be the lowest point. Right. I think this is the lowest point.
Yeah, this is it. And again, I know that people want us, and they expect us, I think, at some point, because we're both season ticket holders. If you're new to the show, to come on and be screaming and just nuts. I'm past that. I got to be honest with you. I mean, look, we'll have some energy today, of course, because it's a busy weekend, crazy stories, the Lane Kiffin stuff as well. But with the Falcons, bro, I'm so over it. I need to hear from Arthur Blank. You know, I saw the article, Arthur Blank's there outside the locker room. He's dapping up the coach. Why don't you choke him? Okay, I don't know what you're hugging him for. He's blowing the season. You know, I mean, it's just, I don't understand. I need a message from ownership on what we're doing. Because, Carl, it came out, Ken Segura had an interesting article talking to some of the players on the Jets special teams, saying they saw the tendencies. They saw that there's huge gaps in our kick game, and they exploited it. Other teams see this. Analysts from Kurt Warner to Dan Orlovsky to Drew Brees talking about what's wrong with our offense. Everyone sees it except for the coaches in that building.
Dede, where you at, man?
Well, if you notice, guys, I'm wearing black today. Because kind of like what you said, Carl, about feeling the lowest point, I feel like I got to bury my feelings now moving forward when it comes to watching this team. And it's more so because of just how disappointing the effort that we get in these one-score losses. We have 5 one-score losses this year. I don't know where that ranks in the NFL amongst teams. Maybe I'll look it up and we can talk about it more on the show. But just so much being wasted. And then you look at yesterday what Tyler Algier and Bijan were able to do. And really what they've been able to do all season as a running back duo. And then I start thinking to myself, well, there's a lost cause because good chance we don't bring Tyler back next year. Right?
Right.
We just
probably a luxury.
Yeah. And then I'm watching highlights and I see what the Panthers do against the Rams.
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Panthers stole our spot.
Yeah.
Look, the Bucs, we knew the Bucs were going to be, probably the team to beat. And I mean, lo and behold, dealing with all the injuries they've had to deal with, they're still probably a good chance they can still win the division, but it was supposed to be us and then the Bucs. That's what everybody said at the beginning of the season, and now it's the Bucs and the Panthers. We're not even in the conversation anymore. And so it was just disappointing because my feelings were all over the place yesterday because you had the 2 special teams hiccups that led to eventually 10 points scored by the Jets, the touchdown on the muff by Agnew, then the kick return for 85 yards to the 15-yard line that led to a field goal. So part of me was like, well, we can't say that's coaching. That's just pure talent. But then it's just like we get late in the game and we can't come up with any schemes to get in field goal range, to kick a go-ahead field goal. Then there's the effort defensively that they do get in the field goal range. Like, my emotions were so all over the place that I said to this morning, I got up and I said, I'm wearing all black because when I watch this team moving forward, I have to take the emotion of being a fan out of watching this team because it's just so disheartening to see us lose these games. And again, 5 one-score losses.
Yeah. Well, if we don't win out, and we're not, that is 8 consecutive losing seasons, right? That's what you're talking about here. I mean, you're talking about obviously not the playoffs, but you're talking about losing seasons. We forget all these 7 and 9 seasons we had with previous coaches where it's just kind of been the norm. Look, we will get into the specifics today, but bottom line is, as Mike said, I just don't know what Mr. Blank needs to see, what more he needs to see. When other teams are talking about your lack of ability to hide what you're trying to do, and it's blatantly obvious, and then you get exposed, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. So there was a missed field goal. There was an 83-yard kickoff return. I mean, there's just a lot, man. And when you talk about how you lose games, when you produce the opposing team, which is what we did yesterday, we outrushed them, right? You look at all the stats and metrics that matter. You just show that to somebody, and go, "Oh, Falcons won," and we didn't.
Yeah.
I guess the most interesting thing to me, guys, is we're just a few losses away from potentially vying for the number 1 overall pick. Do you guys realize that?
Right.
The Titans have 1 win. We have 4. I mean, like, honestly, those teams, the Titans, the Raiders, those teams at the Saints that are vying for the number 1 overall pick are going to probably win 1 more, 2 more games before the season's over. They'll be 2 and whatever, 3 and whatever. I don't know if we win again, but this is by far the lowest part of the season. And as I said yesterday, this has been a shitty season. It just has, from start to finish, the way it started to where we are now. And I don't care who the quarterback is. I don't care what team we've been playing. Every stinking Sunday has just seemingly gotten worse and worse. Even with the wins, Mike. Even with the wins, we can't puff out our chest and go, "Hey."
No, look, we beat Buffalo. There. We beat Buffalo, and then Buffalo comes back to the pack. They win this week, but I mean, Buffalo's got their own issues. We go up to Minnesota. We're feeling pretty good about that. We kicked 5 field goals in that game. We don't know what panic is. No, we're just a bad team. And real quick, I mentioned, the special teams. This is a continuing problem. I don't know how much you got to watch last night's Sunday Night Football. Chris Collinsworth was talking about what makes Sean Payton different. And look, we all know what Sean Payton is. He's been our arch nemesis with the Falcons for years. He's an evil genius. He's really good at his job because he is a ruthless son of a bitch. Okay? That's what Sean Payton is. It's not friendly, happy corporate hires. Oh, yippee. Well, we know Raheem. He's not great, but, it's okay. No, they go for the jugular. They said that another coach who works on that staff says Peyton identifies something's not working or if something's not right with the team, it is fixed immediately. Just like with the whole Russell Wilson. He wasn't dealing with Russell Wilson for a New York minute. He goes, no entourage, no separate trainer. Get that with that crap. But we allow things to fester, like ridiculous play calling that everyone else notices. Let's have Felipe Franks throw to Algier in the flat. Brilliant. How about Bijan? How about the athletic guy that can win a one-on-one? How about the special teams week after week after week that burns us? And we'll talk to Raheem this week. Guys, like I said, there's no point in yelling because Arthur Blank's not doing anything. And more importantly, his coaching staff doesn't know how to fix it. But as a fan, I'm this close, Carl. I know it's like every year I say this. Why do I root for this team? Why do I give them my hard-earned money when all they do is disappoint? And I really believe, truth be told, we have enough talent that a good coaching staff can squeeze those 4 wins out to get us in the playoffs this year. We don't have that staff here.
Do you think?
Yeah, you talk about those.
Do you think we have a better? No, it's cool. It's cool, Dede. Do you think we have a better roster than Carolina?
I think we have a better roster than Carolina.
I do too.
I think you're seeing our defense. Our defense comes on until it can't, until we let the Jets go right down the field. And all of a sudden, Tyrod Taylor looks like Mike Vick in 2002. So, I mean, we've had our moments. We just can never coalesce it for 4 freaking quarters.
Yeah. Dede, go ahead. Because I agree with you. Yeah. I think that's part of this. And nobody wants to own that because of the record and the way the season's gone. But I'm telling you, other coaches around this league, and I've talked to them, are like, what the hell is going on there? Why are you guys not winning? Everybody knows what the deal is, and it's just rearing its ugly head once again. Go ahead, Dede. What were you going to say?
Well, no, and I was just going to say that makes it go back to when you were talking about the Carolina Panthers and asking about them, having the better roster. And if we all are in agreement that they don't, then do you have to say, do they have the better coaching staff? Because guess who they got 2 of their wins over? The Jets and the Dolphins.
That's right. Yeah, that's why I'm asking that. I mean, that you can compare teams outside of the division. Look at the teams in the division and then look at the common opponents, right? And you start going, I don't know. Yesterday, guys, to beat the Rams are by far, I don't care what the record says, Bears, everybody's talking about the Bears in the NFC. Eagles are struggling offensively. Rams are the best team, in my opinion. You put that in the playoffs, they're going to be a hard out, all right? But yesterday they went out there and handled business against those guys, against the Rams, and it just makes you wonder what the hell's going on there versus what's happening here. Either way, we want to hear from you guys. Lots of phone calls today as we talk about this. Obviously, Georgia, plenty of conversation, all football related. And Mike mentioned it. We got to talk about it before we get out of here, and we'll talk plenty today on it. I've got varying opinions on it, but the Lane Kiffin fiasco and how this played out over the weekend, everybody was paying attention. Guys, it trumped the games, which is weird, okay? The games usually trump everything. And despite how big these games were because of the playoff positioning and what the committee is going to do tomorrow, this Lane Kiffin story was front and center on top of everything, Mike. It was everywhere.
No, it's funny. I mean, even on like NFL on ESPN or even on Fox, like Bill Cowher was talking about it on CBS because, it's funny. And the ESPN, does Jimmy Sexton, do these guys on College Game Day get a kickback from Jimmy Sexton? How about them lobbying, he really needs to finish this thing out and coach this team? Really? I mean, I was like, Nick Saban, didn't you fire Lane Kiffin because he was distracted about the FAU job? You didn't let him coach in the championship? I'm like, what are you talking about? But that aside, two ways of looking at it. Purely from Ole Miss's, this is our best chance. So, yes, he will gut the team. He'll take half the team to LSU, and he'll take the coaching staff. But this is the closest Ole Miss is ever going to get to a national championship. So that was the argument for letting him coach. But the other side of it, Carl, is the principle that he is going to do all those things. And every other big coach and every other big job locked up, made the commitment. No hotter commodity than Kirk Cignetti. He said, I'm staying in Indiana. And there's 10 better jobs in Indiana. And Ole Miss has shown you they can compete. And then he goes to your arch rival LSU. Lane Kiffin, Carl, people don't change. They may improve in some areas. Lane Kiffin goes right back to that guy that Al Davis said he was. And then he starts playing the sympathy card. Well, geez. No, it's not the 80s fault. It's your fault. You made this decision. So I like Lane Kiffin, but man, he made him certainly hard to like this week, man. That was an awful situation.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm mixed. I'll explain today on the show about it because I think it's easy for everybody to say exactly what you just said. It was his decision. If this was us, Day, right. If you had $4 or $5 more $1 million sitting in front of you and you had an opportunity to go to a better place, more resources, and 3 random coaches have won there, right? 3 guys, he knows all of them, but Saban, Ogeron, Lesmont, all won chips there. You can't say that where I'm at, right? And I just think it's easy for everybody to say, what the hell are you waiting on, dude? Let's go. What's the deal? But Mike's right. Perception is Lane has always kind of done this from job to job, and it just makes it feel like even worse than what it is. But we're going to dive into that, man, because it is big news. And by the way, that's not the only coaching change. That's what I'm saying. Right. There are so many other Auburn's got a new coach. Florida's got a new coach.
Right.
So, it's like those jobs are not even being talked about as this Lane Kiffin deal is. And I get it. Kiffin's a brand. His team's relevant. I understand all of that. I'm just saying on any other given, coaching cycle, we would be talking Florida and Auburn all day long and how big this is for the guys that are getting those opportunities. It's kind of back noise. Kentucky fires Mark Stoops. Finally, nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. It's like, it's one of those deals where you've got all these jobs. Penn State's still open, guys. Nobody's talking about it. Who's taking the Penn State job? So there is a lot there, but Kiffin was the first domino, and we knew this. If you wanted to go outside of the guys that we knew about, he had to fall first, and now we're going to see where this goes as we continue to move forward. It's Monday. Welcome back, guys. Long weekend. Day, obviously, Big O's not with us, but he'll be there today on the show. Mike and I at 2:00 want to talk to you guys. And this Falcon thing is just, look, I really thought, and I'll say this, my last thought on the Falcons before we get to 2:00 today. But Mike, I really thought if we lost to the Jets, he was getting fired. I really felt that way.
I thought we had a press conference today at Arthur Blank's Foundation. We'd all be to jump out and get there. And that's why I don't know, other than there's nobody in that room that can go coach the team other than Ulbrich has already done it. And that was no great checks for the Jets. And maybe that's it. But I don't, any other organization in the history of this team, when Dan Quinn was going through this, the only difference is Raheem Morris, this is his 3rd year as head coach, 1 year as an interim. But in 2 years, we've seen coaches get fired for a lot worse. Check that, for less worse performances, if that makes sense, in the NFL midseason. So we've already seen it happen this year. Frustrating. Really, I don't. To me, it just sends the wrong message to the fan base. The fan base needs to know the owner is engaged with this. Perception is he's not. Whether he is or isn't, the perception is he isn't.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's a fundamental problem there. I mean, it's one thing that your team's losing. It's another thing to say, hey, fan base, I'm aware, and here's what I think, right? That's what we're missing in this equation. Right. All right, man. We got a lot to chop up today. Again, back, long week. We're getting ready for Georgia, Alabama again. And I'm going to tell you right now, all right, narrative all week. Get used to it. Kirby and this record against Alabama, and he hasn't beaten DeBoer. It's just what it is. Doesn't mean a damn thing, but people are going to be talking about it, and everybody outside of Georgia and everybody outside of it, that's what's going to be talked about. Oh, well, they beat them at their place earlier this year, and doesn't matter. So Saturday is what it's all about.
The only thing I can think of is why that game plan was so horrific, and why they forgot about Branch and everything. And they made basically Gunner turn into Haynes King. Is just when Tech really never seemed like they were going to do anything, and they were bottling up. Haynes. So I just felt, all right. I'm glad I didn't pay $500 to go to that game. I'll tell you that. A lot of my buddies are like, damn, this is like 1970s Pepper Rogers, Vince Dooley, Georgia Tech, Georgia.
Yeah, it was not entertaining at all. But they got the dub, and you're right. That's all that matters. Right. But they cannot play that way against Alabama. They cannot.
Well, you got to hope.
Championship.
Yeah, you got to hope Bobo is back. You got to hope whatever his injury is not significant.
Yeah, it was a combination of the play call, but there was nothing going on. That's the best Tech's defense looked in 5 weeks.
Yeah,
basically all season. Yeah.
Bobo's the center, guys. If you're not familiar with that, left with an injury. All right, we got a lot to get to. 2:00. Make sure you're there. Thanks for being here with us behind the curtain, guys. It's Dukes and Bell. We'll talk to you too.